Hello and welcome. Now, after meeting today in Austrian capital Vienna, oil producers group OPEC has reached a deal to raise oil output from July. Reports say OPEC has agreed to raise oil production by around 1 million barrels per day for the group and its allies. Earlier, the de facto OPEC leader Saudi Arabia convinced arch-rival Iran to cooperate over production policy. Energy ministers had been laying the groundwork all week for today's biannual meeting in Vienna. OPEC kingpin Saudi Arabia and non-member Russia had urged major suppliers to ramp up production by about 1 million barrels per day after 18 months of tight output controls. The proposal had earlier become a near consensus among the 14-member group and its allied partners.
Are you confident of the deal, sir? Are you confident of the deal, sir?
President Dany Four of Seychelles is on his first state visit to India. He'll be touring a number of Indian cities. WION Siddhant Sibal explains why a 2015 deal between India and the Seychelles has become a cause for concern.
Seychelles President Dany Four is in India on a 5-day visit. This is his first state visit to India. President Four will visit Ahmedabad in Gujarat and Goa before the official engagements in Delhi on June 25th and 26th. In Ahmedabad, he will visit the prestigious institutions of higher learning, including the Indian Institute of Management and the Gujarat Forensic Sciences University. In Goa, he will tour the Indian Naval Air Station. But the big focus of the visit will remain the Indian Naval Facility on Assumption Island, which was agreed upon during Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Seychelles in March 2015. Days before his visit, the Seychelles president, in an exclusive conversation with WION's Amitabh Revi, had said that he won't put the Indian facility agreement on the Assumption Island for ratification in Parliament, since it will not pass through.
I have decided not to submit the agreement to National Assembly for ratification. Because I received the signals that it won't go.
So why does Seychelles need such a facility? First, it's part of crucial sea lanes through which much of Africa's trade with Asia passes, and piracy is a big issue. And remember, Seychelles might have a small land area, but its exclusive economic zone is the size of South Africa and twice the size of Madagascar.
But what is the real reason for the Assumption Island deal to fall apart? Is China behind the decision? The Seychelles president has rejected that position.
And our relationship has never been one of dictate by a big country and a small country. And I think it is in this context that I believe that Seychelles, our relationship will grow with both India and China.
India will gift a Dornier aircraft to the Seychelles president on Tuesday. It will be handed over by India's Minister of External Affairs. This is the second Dornier aircraft India will be giving to the Seychelles. India has already gifted one Dornier maritime surveillance aircraft to the Seychelles in 2013. India gifted and installed 6 coastal surveillance radar systems in the Seychelles in 2015, enabling better coastal security. A 45-member Indian Army team participated in the 7th India-Seychelles biennial joint military exercise in May. INS Sunaina, an offshore patrol ship, visited the Seychelles in June 2017 to participate in the Seychelles National Day Parade. INS Mumbai visited Victoria to undertake an anti-narcotics patrol for the Seychelles.
This will be the third meeting between Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Seychelles President. They first met at the Solar Summit here in New Delhi and second time at the CHOGM Summit in London. With increased Chinese presence in the Indian Ocean region, Seychelles is an important country for India. New Delhi, of course, will give a grand welcome to the President of Seychelles. But on top of the mind of every Indian policymaker will be the Assumption Island deal. With my colleague Amitabh Revi and video journalist Surendra Siddhant Sibal for WION in New Delhi.
All right, moving on. It looks like the U.S. first couple is in damage control mode. First Lady Melania Trump, after staying away from the public eye for long, has made a surprise visit to the U.S.-Mexico border. It comes the day after President Donald Trump retreated on his immigration policy and signed an executive order to end his policy of family separations amid enormous political pressure. The First Lady took part in briefings and toured a non-profit social services center for children who illegally entered the U.S. and a customs and border patrol processing center. Meanwhile, Melania Trump was spotted wearing a jacket which read, "I don't care, do you?" to which President Trump reacted in a tweet saying, and I quote, "I really don't care, do you?" written on the back of Melania's jacket refers to the fake news media. Melania has learned how dishonest they are and she truly no longer cares, unquote. Now, there were reports of thousands of children having been separated from their parents in recent weeks as a direct result of the Trump government's zero-tolerance policy on unlawful border crossings. On the other hand, President Trump too seems to be making amends now on immigration policy. He has officially invited the Democrats to the White House to discuss immigration legislation. Speaking ahead of a cabinet meeting, Trump said that the holding centers at the U.S.-Mexico border are one of the nicest the U.S. can offer. But he laid emphasis on maintaining strong border in a tweet later, saying, and again I quote, "We have to maintain strong borders or we will no longer have a country that we can be proud of. And if we show any weakness, millions of people will journey into our country," unquote.
Take a look at some of the court rulings against the Obama administration. They talked about inhumane treatment. I read them. I looked at them. They're all over the place. Inhumane treatment. They were treating them terribly. We have a situation where some of these places, they're really running them well. And I give a lot of credit to Secretary Nielsen and all of the people that have worked. It's the nicest that people have seen. But it's still something that shouldn't be taking place.
Meanwhile, the lower house of the American legislature defeated a Republican bill designed to significantly reduce visas for legal immigration into the U.S. and to temporarily protect illegal dreamer youths from deportation. The House defeated the measure on a vote of 193 to 231 as a group of Republicans joined Democrats to sink the plan.
This bill.
And staying in the U.S., the Indian Embassy in the United States has established contact with 2 immigration detention centers where nearly 100 Indians are currently detained. Reports suggest that these Indians are mostly from Punjab and were detained for illegally entering the U.S. through its southern border. The Indian Embassy said in a statement, and I quote, "We have established contacts with both the detention facilities. A consular official has visited the detention facility in Oregon, and another one is scheduled to visit the detention facility in New Mexico on June 26. We are trying to establish facts. We will provide all help to our citizens," unquote. According to officials, around 40 to 45 Indians are detained in New Mexico, while 52 Indians are being held in Oregon. Most of the detainees are seeking asylum, claiming that they have experienced violence or persecution in India. Right, shifting focus from the Americas now to West Asia, the so-called Islamic State terror group had banned the radio in Mosul. Radio stations that survived broadcast merely jihadist propaganda. But today the radio is back and young Iraqis are on air broadcasting music, entertainment and news. One such presenter is 15-year-old Noor Tai. Here's her story.
May 2017. 15-year-old Noor walks among the rubble on her way home in East Mosul, helped by her father. At the time, this part of the city had been retaken from the Islamic State group by Iraqi forces, but the western part remained in the hands of the jihadists. The teenager, left blind by a degenerative illness 3 years before, has one passion: radio. She got her first taste participating in a radio contest organized from the nearby city of Erbil by displaced people, winning the jury's support all the way to the semi-final with her reflections on Iraqi society.
Radio is a whole different world. You don't have to be able to see it to listen to it. Even though I'm blind, I can listen to the radio and feel like I'm part of a different world, a special world. In the future, I want to become part of that world. I want to become an anchor.
1 year later, it's mission accomplished. Still flanked by her father, she now hosts a show simply called Noor, hosting artists and other guests. In the meantime, Iraqi forces have completely ousted the IS group from the city. The radio station 1FM, which recruited Noor, was created 6 months after Mosul was retaken last July.
Through my work in the media, I want to send a message to everyone that people with special needs can also contribute to the community and they can also fulfill their dreams.
يقدرون يحققون أحلامهم ويقدمون فد شيء.
During the Islamic State group's occupation of the city, radio stations were banned, replaced by the sound of jihadist propaganda. The arrival of stations like WION FM, complete with Arab hits and radio jingles, marks a remarkable transformation, bringing welcome light relief for the war-scarred city.